Or you can be its savior.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 DC film Black Adam. A film that is directed by Jean-Colette Serra, and it stars Dwayne Johnson, Aldis Hodge, Pierce Brosnan, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shani and Quintessa Swindell. Now the film essentially is the big screen outing of Black Adam, a character that Dwayne Johnson has been trying to bring to the big screen for about 15 years. I think it was a long time ago when he was first announced as, or he announced that he was going to be taking up like the role of Black Adam. So it's taken a long time to get to the big screen. And what do we get? Well, we get the origin story of Black Adam, really, or Tech Adam as he is initially known in this film. We get to see initially how he came to be 5,000 years ago, and then it jumps forward in time how he is essentially resurrected as the former champion of Kandra. I believe it's called Kandra, which is like a make-believe, like Middle Eastern country. So he comes back as their champion, but what they don't realise is he doesn't see himself as a champion in any way, shape or form, and neither do the Justice Society, who are led by Hawkman and Dr. Fate, who head out to Kandra to put a stop to Black Adam, as they see him as a threat to the rest of the world. Right, what are my thoughts on this film? Well, I have to say, guys, I think DC have had a very, very strong year this year. You could argue, I don't think there's any argument really, I think they've had a stronger year than Marvel this year. They've had The Batman, which was a huge success, and now we've got Black Adam, which is already proving to be a box office success. It's splitting, I think, critics and audiences, but that's no real surprise. Critics don't generally go for films like this, but audiences are loving this film, and there's a reason why they're loving this film, because this is a really, really pleasing film to watch. It's a lot of fun. It's not flawless. It is clumsy here and there, and it is a bit generic in how it kind of sets up the story and ticks a few boxes here and there, but it's a massively strong first outing for this character. And it's a role that I think Dwayne Johnson was born to play, really. I mean, I think the best compliment I can give Dwayne Johnson in this film was when you watch it, you don't see Dwayne Johnson when you see the character, you just see Black Adam. And that for a major star like Dwayne Johnson, that's hard. To see him in a role like this and then not actually see the star, just see the character, because, you know, that is not easy. You know, and usually when you see Tom Cruise in a film, it becomes a Tom Cruise film. Brad Pitt film, it becomes a Brad Pitt film. You know, them sort of stars that, you know, they're so big, you cast them in the film because you kind of know, generally speaking, they're going to be successful. And I think Dwayne Johnson pulls this role off magnificently. You don't see the person, you see the character, which I think is a really, really positive thing in this film. Everybody else I think is excellent as well, especially Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I was worried a little bit, only because I'd seen interviews leading up to and after the initial release, Black Adam. I've seen interviews with cast and all that kind of stuff, and Pierce Brosnan as well, even though he was very respectful of the film and things, he almost seemed a little embarrassed that it was in a film like this. Maybe I'm exaggerating there. It was always quite humble and stuff, but when you watch him, he's absolutely brilliant in this film, Pierce Brosnan. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But I also think everybody else is as well. I think Atom Smasher is wonderful. He's the comic relief of the film, and they get that tone just right as well, because the film is quite dark. Black Adam essentially is an anti-hero, and at the beginning of the film he's killing left, right and centre. You know, he has no problem with taking lives, and you see the evolution of that character as the film progresses, kind of learning to evolve and change who he is, and how he can fit in this new environment that he's in. And I think that is really, really good. So it needed a little bit of humour, and you get that with Atom Smasher, who I thought was wonderful. and Dr. Fate as well, who brings some nice comedy relief as and when it's required too. So it's really good in that sense. I also think the action and the set pieces are outstanding. His introduction to this new modern world, I just thought was fantastic, uncompromising, just smashing everything in his way. Black Adam, really well done. And then it takes a little bit of a dip in the middle, but it doesn't last for long. It's kind of fairly relentless, this film. It doesn't really let you come up for much breath. And it's nicely paced as well. I think sometimes superhero films, especially these days, can have started to become a little bit too long. You can't really say that of this film. I think it's just over 2 hours, 2 hours, 5 minutes, something like that. It's just, just long enough. It doesn't overstay its welcome, I don't think. It gives us some great action scenes. I think the special effects are absolutely wonderful. My main criticisms, really, of the film is that some of the characters are a little bit underdeveloped. I think the introduction of a villain late into the film is fairly poorly handled. I think DC aren't great at this, you know what I mean, in regards to the villains. But you could argue the same for Marvel, you know what I mean? There's a villain late into this film that's very clumsily introduced. You kind of get this build-up throughout the whole film, and then when it's introduced, it's a bit of a letdown, I suppose. But I was massively entertained with this one. Really good DC film. And if this is the path they're taking, and I've said this a few times, you know what I mean? I think DC gets a bit of a hard time. Yes, they have messed it up here and there, but you could say that about Marvel these last couple of years. They've made some not stinkers, but they've kind of lost the way a little bit, I think, with some of the films. I think this is a really strong entry into the DC franchise. I had a really good time watching it. Yes, the mid-credit scene is fantastic, and I'm not going to spoil it if you don't know what that entails, but I think, let's be honest, the whole planet knows by this point what that entails and what that sets up for the DC going forward. Gets me very, very excited indeed. So, yeah, I do strongly recommend Black Adam. I thought it was very entertaining, and I really enjoyed my time with it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.